Hey, Pretty Girl Club. So today we're going to be talking about Gabrielle Union and her dusty marriage to the one, the only, the zesty Dwayne Wade. So not only is Dwayne Wade good friends with the diddler, but Dwayne Wade has openly discussed his desire to do cross-dressing. He has openly discussed kind of this fluid identity he has. And hey, I am not against it. I support the LGBT community. But Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade have been married for 10 years. And Gabrielle Union recently admitted that she was paying 50-50 in their marriage. But let's start off by looking at Dwayne Wade talking about being zesty, and then we'll get into the details.
Put on heels. I used to do all those things. I try to put on whatever my sisters wear. When all my sisters did, I try to do those things.
Okay, so he's saying that whatever his sisters did, he tried to do all those things, such as wearing heels, etc. So Dwayne Wade has had a reputation for being zesty for a while now. But what I thought was really interesting, though, was the fact that Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's home is $32.5 million. So Gabrielle Union admitted that she was paying 50% of the mortgage. So I did what I always do. You guys know that I was an accountant, so I'm going to calculate that shit. How much does it cost to pay 50-50 on a mortgage of a $32.5 million house for 10 years? So according to ChatGPT, the average monthly mortgage payment for a house of that price would be $140,000. So if she's paying 50-50, she's paying $70K per month. Would you pay $70,000 per month to be married to a zesty NBA player? Yeah, I'm just asking. I'm just curious. Because for all the people that are so in love with Gabrielle Union's relationship, I'm just curious, would you guys pay $70K per month just to say that you have a man, just to say that you have a husband, just to say that you have black love? In fact, let's do $70K per month over the course of 10 years. So if she's paying $70K per month over the course of 10 years, that is $8.4 million that Gabrielle Union paid in order to stay married to the zesty Dwayne Wade. So imagine being a multi-million-dollar NBA player. Your wife paid $8.4 million over the past 10 years in order to stay with you. And you're out here buying sparkly Nigerian suits. You're out here rocking your hoochie daddy shorts and doing interviews, bragging about how you're going 50-50 in your marriage. And for the people who are saying, oh, well, they switched it up, they're no longer going 50-50. He's paying the mortgage now. Okay, but she still paid $8.4 million. Gabrielle Union has been working as an actress for how many years now? What, 20 years? 30 years? So imagine working your ass off as an actress, a black actress at that. You have spent your life trying to build up your career. You finally do build up your career. And then you end up getting with a zesty man and you have to give him $8.4 million that you spent decades trying to build, knowing that he gets paid way more than you. And by the way, Gabrielle Union said that Dwayne Wade was like, oh, this is my house. So essentially, he was utilizing financial abuse and financial manipulation so that he could dominate and subjugate Gabrielle and make her feel inferior. And her response to that was to pay $8.4 million. Imagine having to pay $8.4 million just to get a man to respect you. Just to get a man to not talk to you crazy, you have to pay $8.4 million over the course of 10 years. So is that the definition of resting in her femininity? Is this what resting in your femininity looks like? Is this what black love looks like? Is this what a high value, hypergamous marriage looks like? She got her black king. He has his black queen. Yet she had to pay $8.4 million just to get him to stop insulting her career. Imagine being a working actress for decades, and then the man who claims to love you, the man who you claim to love, the one who you dedicated your life to, the one who you're going to give children to, disrespects your entire career and disrespects your position in his home and in his life by saying, this is my house. So he's essentially threatening homelessness to Gabrielle Union. So tell me, Exoticals, would you stay married to a man who threatens homelessness during arguments? Is that supposed to be a good representation of a healthy relationship? So, and this is the pick me mindset that I'm talking about, because I've seen some women, they'll be like, oh, well, that was in the past and that was just one argument. Their emotions were high. They were just mad at each other. Okay, but how much trauma do you have to go through in order to stay in these marriages? I hear a lot of women saying things like, oh, well, we got through the hard times and here we are now. And it's like, okay, how many hard times do I have to go through, especially with a multimillionaire? So you're telling me we got through the hard times, but you refuse to tell us that those hard times cost you $8.4 million. You had to pay $70,000 per month just to get that man to put some respect on your name. And I haven't even begun talking about the cheating allegations, the DL allegations. I haven't even begun talking about how Gabrielle Union has a history of being extremely catty with other women. I am not a fan of Gabrielle Union because I don't like how she treated Ryan Destiny, who is a dark-skinned mixed race woman. I don't like how Gabrielle was literally comparing herself to Ryan Destiny and basically creating a random invisible competition with this young up-and-coming dark-skinned mixed race actress. And so instead of Gabrielle being a mentor or kind of like being kind and loving towards other dark-skinned women, no, she decides to make it a random competition. So do you see the psychology of women with this desperate pick-me mindset? I've noticed a lot of women who have inferiority complexes like Gabrielle, they will settle for trash in their relationships just so they can tell the public, hey, look, I's married now. I's married now. And then Gabrielle Union has made it even worse for herself and for her image by going online. She literally was trying to explain why she wouldn't trust Zesty Dwayne with paying 100% of the bill. And she was saying it was because she had so much trauma. She was a victim of SA. She had gone through PTSD. It's like, okay, so if you've gone through PTSD, and if you already have problems trusting men, Gabrielle, instead of actually looking at the patterns and learning from the fact that men have screwed you over in the past, you decide to get into a marriage, pay $70,000 per month, just so you can prove yourself and jump through these hoops, so you can prove that you're on an even playing field with this man. Why would you even marry a man who looks down on you, first of all? That's question number one. Question number two is, why would you marry a man who you don't trust? If you can't trust a man financially, why would you dedicate your life to him? Why would you share finances with him? When people get divorced, they have to split their assets a lot of times. So why would I link my assets to somebody when I've spent 30 years as a working actress and I've worked my butt off? Gabrielle Union has said that she has felt pressure with working, and she has said that she has felt like some of her family members will not eat if she doesn't work. So you're telling me that that's a healthy relationship. Imagine being married to a multi-millionaire and still being scared that some of your family members won't eat. Like, do you know how isolated you have to feel in your own marriage to feel like your own family members, your blood, literally won't eat food? They will literally starve, or you could potentially be homeless when you're married to a multi-millionaire. And then you've got this multi-millionaire husband telling you, oh, this is my house. So he's basically saying, bitch, this isn't your house. So you're married to this guy with all this money, and he's literally telling you out of his mouth, he's bold enough to tell you, this is not your house. So he's essentially threatening you. He's threatening, I can kick you out of this house anytime. And then in order to get revenge, you now have to have a decline in your finances because you're paying $70K per month on your $32.5 million home. And by the way, that's not the only home they have. I'm actually being generous by saying that she only pays $70K per month. So over the course of this 10-year marriage, you paid $8.4 million just so you can prove a point to this man, because that's how badly he looks down on you. That's how much he disrespects your entire career. That's how much he disrespects your entire existence and value as a woman. And then you come back 10 years later and say, oh, well, we switched it up now. Now he's paying the mortgage. Okay, but just because a man's paying the mortgage, what about all the other bills, Gabby? What about the other properties you guys have? What about all the other financial things that you've got going on in your jobs and in your businesses? Who's covering those costs? Who covered the cost of the wedding? Who's covering all the costs of the kids? Who's covering the cost of the nannies, etc.? The housemaids, all the people that are helping, all the assistants, all the makeup artists, etc. Is Zesty Dwayne providing for that? Because it sure doesn't seem like it. He seems to be living his best life. He's got sparkly brooches on. He's got his beard oiled up. He's got his low fade going on. He's got his eyebrows waxed, sparkly diamonds in his ear, his hoochie daddy shorts on. He's spending his money on sparkly button-up shirts so he can go booty pop at Diddy parties. And by the way, rumor has it that Diddy's freak off parties cost $500K. So you're telling me that Gabrielle Union paid $70K per month for 10 years, which totals to $8.4 million, whereas Dwayne Wade is over here paying $500K to go to freak off parties so he can booty pop with his sparkly button up Nigerian suits. And then Gabrielle makes it even worse for herself because when I was looking it up, I found an old tweet or an old comment from Gabrielle. She says, every household is different, and doing what's best for you and yours is the key. And what some don't understand is that I am 100% responsible for 3 other households, and D has even more. Okay, wait a minute. So you're telling me that Dwayne, he does have the ability to fully provide because he's fully providing for more than 3 other households. But when it comes to you, his wife, Gabrielle, you are expected to pay a total of $8.4 million over the course of 10 years to stay in a marriage with the same man who is the full head of household for several other homes. And then on top of that, Gabrielle says right here in the quote, she is responsible for 3 other households. So not only has the weight not been lifted off of Gabrielle, because she is still the head of the household, she is still the protector and provider for 3 additional homes. So in addition to the $8.4 million she paid over the course of the last 10 years, according to her own talking points, because she said she's 50-50, their mansion cost $32.5 million. So the average mortgage cost, according to ChatGPT, is around $140K per month, which would make Gabrielle's portion $70K per month. Okay, so she admitted that in her interview. So she's paying $70K per month so she can stay married to a Zesty NBA player. He's fully providing for several other households. And then she's also supposed to continue providing for 3 additional households. Is this what resting in your femininity looks like? And then she says the majority of those households are elderly people and minors. Okay, but why is it that elderly people and minors are randomly Gabrielle's responsibility or they're randomly Dwayne's responsibility? That is actually called codependency. Anytime other family members, like if you get rich and then you've got family members who are expecting you to pay all of their bills, especially when you want to just rest in your femininity, and it seems like Gabrielle does. It seems like Gabrielle has been overworked and potentially underpaid her entire career because she alluded to it in her interview. She said it feels like she has a monkey on her back telling her, bitch, you better work. First of all, I find it interesting that she used the word monkey. Like, oh, I have a monkey on my back telling me, bitch, you better work. Why is it a monkey? Like, out of all the other animals you could have named, why would you name an animal that is associated with blackness? Could it be that she was subconsciously talking about Dwayne? I don't know. So I thought that was interesting. But also, number 2, why are there 2 people getting married who literally have several homes of codependent people hanging on to them, or they have agreed to take care and fully provide for these other people? So it's like, okay, Dwayne can provide for everybody else, his mama, his daddy, grandmama and them, big mama and them, Momo and them. But suddenly when it comes to his own wife, the one who's going to bear his children, she is now required to pay $8.4 million. And if she doesn't, Dwayne is going to tell her, this is my house. So essentially, I can do whatever I want. I'm the boss because this is my house and I pay the bills. And then as a way to try to prove her value in that home, Gabrielle has been in the hole $8.4 million. And so now they're essentially going on a PR tour so they can try to pretend like we are idiots and like we can't just do simple math. All you have to do is do the simple math. Look at the cost of their house, estimate the monthly mortgage cost, and then estimate 50% of that. That's how much Gabrielle is paying per month minimum.
And so my wife came out and talked about how we split things 50-50 in our home.
Yeah.
And so it became a big conversation about, men and women.
Yeah.
I just had to pause it right here. Dwayne Wade, he's got a sparkly hoop earring on. He's got his sparkly wedding ring on, and he's even got a full-blown manicure. So I'm not sure if you guys can see it on the screen, but you can see, I don't know if these are red circles that he's got going on his nails or red hearts, or maybe he damaged his nails. I don't know. He could have damaged his nails playing basketball, but his nails are looking quite shiny. His lips are moisturized. Skin is moisturized. He's got his toner and skincare routine going on.
Men and women
Yeah.
who splits 50-50, who pays the bills and all these things. And then she recently came out and she said that she's in her software now, that she don't want to do 50-50 anymore. And I'm the kind of person, Jenna, that when my wife came to me and, we had a conversation about not everything 50-50, but, buying our house together, doing certain things for our family together in a 50-50 situation.
Okay, wait a minute. So actually, he's admitting that it's still 50-50. So he's saying that when it comes to anything with the family, they're still doing it in a 50-50 situation. So that actually cancels out what Gabrielle was saying about, oh, she's in her soft era.
I was like, sure, baby.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. And if she come to me and she say, I don't want to do it, I'm like, sure, baby. If that's what you want to do. Now,
okay, so he's saying essentially she leads the way. So he's exposing himself. Gabrielle is the leader of that relationship. So anything she says, he goes, sure, okay, whatever you say goes, even though we know that that's false because Gabrielle exposed Dwayne because she said that he told her, this is my house. And that she was like, you'll never be able to talk to me like that again. So Dwayne is kind of performing here. He's trying to make it seem like he's a feminine, submissive man to Gabrielle and that she just gets whatever she wants when Gabrielle was singing a different tune.
the house may be a little smaller.
Yeah.
If we just going off my salary.
Yeah.
But it's all.
I'm sorry, I just can't get over the nails and the jewelry combo. This is a beautiful combo. Dwayne Wade, he should totally start a fashion line. I would love to see him with some sort of beauty guru aesthetic because look at the nice manicure. Look at the double diamonds. Look at the sparkly diamond bracelet with a shiny manicure. I mean, his gel manicure is shining so bright in these studio lights. Look at the detail in Dwayne Wade's manicure. He's got a silver nail on the thumb. It appears like he's got hearts or some sort of geometric shapes on the rest of his nails. He's got the sparkly diamonds on. I mean, his outfits are coordinated. So Gabrielle's over here saying she feels like she has a monkey on her back, telling her that she can't even sleep in. But here he is with his freshly manicured hands doing an interview on NBC News.
My salary.
Yeah.
But it's all good. What about you?
Wait, hold on. But then we have to watch this clip because we want to hear what her talking about it. Let's listen real quick.
I famously said 50-50 or bust, right? And I meant that financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't and I need him to be 100. It's brought us closer.
Okay, I had to pause it and cut in right here because if you're in a relationship, why would you have 0% left? Like, if that man is truly helping you to rest in your femininity, he's filling your cup, that relationship is fulfilling, you wouldn't even have a scenario where it's like, oh, I only have 10%, I have 0%, I need you to show up. If you are so drained to the point where 90% of your energy is gone, Gabrielle Union, you've already talked about how you have literally not even been able to sleep in because that's how much pressure you feel to work. Do you see how it's still kind of exposing her? She's still exposing herself because she's still saying that, oh, sometimes I'm so drained in this relationship that I have zero to give and he has to show up. I mean, shouldn't he be showing up consistently all the time anyway? So you wouldn't be feeling drained. You wouldn't be saying, oh, I only have 10% left or I only have 0% left. Who's taking all your energy, Gabrielle, if you're resting in your femininity?
Because he knows it's not about whether he can afford it. It's being vulnerable enough to be open enough to know that I'm okay. I'm okay as his wife. He's okay as my husband. I'm okay.
I had to pause it again right here because she's actually admitting that she did not have enough emotional safety in the relationship to be vulnerable. So she's literally exposing herself again within 2 sentences. She's admitting that for the first 10 years, she didn't even feel emotionally safe enough to be vulnerable. Yes, she's still staying with him. She's still staying with Zesty, Booty Pop, and Dwayne, and she has talked about having PTSD and stuff. Okay, so what has Dwayne done, and how has he created an emotional safe space for you to have healing from your PTSD? Because it sounds like that he hasn't. Especially since you, Gabrielle, came publicly online and said that he literally talked to you crazy before and he was like, oh, well, this is my house. Do you think that if he's having her pay $8.4 million over the course of 10 years and is openly cheating on her and all that, do you really think that that was the only time he's ever talked to her crazy? That's probably not even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to drama in their relationship behind the scenes. We're not idiots. I just have to point out here, look at the difference in jewelry and sparkle between Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying Dwayne Wade, he had his jewelry done. He had his detailed manicure done. And here comes Gabrielle. She's just got a very basic athletic ponytail. She has no jewelry on. She's got a cotton t-shirt on. That's because Gabrielle, she's paid $8.4 million. She can't pay for the manicure. Dwayne Wade is rolling in dough. He's a multi-millionaire. She can't pay for that because she's too busy. She said she couldn't even sleep in before. She's too busy working.
Okay in this family. I'm okay in this home. I deserve it. And so I'm trying to expand my heart, expand all of the notions of what vulnerability can look like.
She's in a soft era. And I understand when we moved from Miami, we moved to LA, that's when we went to 50-50. And not in all things, everybody. Like I pay for a lot of things, but.
Okay, so now we've got Dwayne Wade contradicting himself again because he said that's when they moved to 50-50, whereas Gabrielle said that they split everything 50-50 and that it's been that way basically, and that she has responsibility for several other households and so does he. And by the way, I actually looked it up and it looks like they went from a bigger mansion into a smaller mansion. So you could actually make the argument that their lifestyle essentially downgraded, potentially because Dwayne Wade could possibly be bad with finances. I mean, if you're spending $500K at Diddy parties and spending all your extra money on sparkly manicures and sparkly brooches, I could see how that could be a thing as well. So I could also make the argument that their lifestyle has declined because they went from a bigger place to a smaller place, and then Gabrielle had to come in and pay 50-50. So if that's true, if what Dwayne Wade is saying is true, that they went from a bigger mansion to a smaller mansion and then she paid 50-50, that tells me that he's either bad at finances or he's trying to save up his money so he can booty pop at more Diddy parties and he can get him a sugar daddy. So tell me, ladies, would you stay married to a man where you paid 50-50 for several years, you feel pressure and like there's a monkey on your back telling you you can't even sleep in, you feel like you have nothing to give, as Gabrielle Union just said a couple seconds ago, she's only got 10% left, she's only got 0% left. On top of that, you allegedly downsized to a smaller mansion. It's about 5 times smaller, allegedly. And then your man tells you that you have to pay 50-50 on that mansion after he just told you that this isn't your house and this is his house and it's basically his rules. Would you stay married to that? I mean, is that an example of a good marriage? Is that an example of leveling up? Okay, back to the video. So now he's saying that when they moved from Miami to LA, that it was 50-50. So that would actually be even worse if he started off providing for Gabrielle and then he said, oh no, bitch, we're moving to LA now. You got to go 50-50. You got to go half on this shit. So imagine being married to zesty NBA players who have the audacity to get you into a marriage under the guise of protecting and providing. And then once you're in the marriage and you want to move to your dream city because you're an actress, like in Gabrielle's case, I'm sure there are a lot of acting jobs and stuff in LA. I don't know what team he plays for, but maybe he played for a team in LA. So it's like you're in this marriage and then suddenly when it's time to move, now you have to go 50-50. That's even worse. They're exposing themselves even worse.
Big things. And a lot of it is my wife has went out and she's been working on her entire life since she was 19 years old for her own things. And so, you know, we kind of had a conversation. She was like, well, I can pay that. And I was like, well, do your thing then. What about you? You and Harry had these conversations about 50-50?
Yeah, I mean.
So notice how he's trying to deflect. So I can see that he's had some PR training before this interview because he tries to deflect the topic of conversation back onto this white woman. He tries to make sure that he's not being questioned. He wants to take control over this interview. Like, no, what about you guys? Do you guys have conversations about 50-50? He wants people to compare him and Gabrielle's marriage to this woman's marriage in the green. So that is a very common like reverse psychology tactic. We talk about that a lot on this channel. So I see Dwayne trying to do that right now. He doesn't want any more questions about their financial life.
I think when we got married, we were like, this is us, you know, and we definitely, you know, I'm like, I can't think exactly. And one of my biggest things is like, you don't want tit for tat in marriage, you know, and I know y'all don't either. So it's not like, hey, I paid for that, you pay for this. It's never like that. It's sort of like all one thing, one family. We all got each other, you know, and it sounds like that's what Gabby's saying too. It's like, she feels so safe in y'all's marriage now that she doesn't need to like put up any, you know, guardrail.
Okay, so essentially after Gabrielle paid $8.4 million over the course of 10 years, now she suddenly feels safe. Even though Gabrielle Union just screwed herself over seconds ago in her recent interview when she said that she sometimes has nothing left to give. So if you have nothing left to give in the relationship, isn't that a sign that the relationship is draining? So why would you still feel drained if suddenly you're so feminine and just resting now? And it's like, if you felt so safe, why did you feel the need to pay $70K a month just to get him to stop talking shit? Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comments section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.